Hey, what's up, guys? This is NorbCam, and you're watching NorbCam now because the only thing that matters right now is now. And what are we talking about right now? Well, it is a beautiful blue Friday here in the Pacific Northwest, and it is the first weekend without football here in the NFL. What's up, Miguel, Avery, Doug Baldwin, Life of Lexi, Banana Man, Joy Igo, Luciano Rubio. What's happening, y'all? Thanks for watching. Going here live to talk a little Seahawks, talking a little bit NFC West. And maybe do I owe Patriots fans an apology? Let's get into it. So first thing, I think the first free agency kind of big news that hit the Seahawks this week was the news that Blair Walsh, the former kicker of the Minnesota Vikings, who missed that kick wide left against the Seahawks in the wild card game last year in the freezing sub-zero cold. Well, Blair Walsh has just been signed with the Seahawks this week as to add some competition to the kicking position. Now, this does not bode well for Steven Hauschka because Steven Hauschka is set to be a free agent this year, unrestricted free agent, amongst several others who I'm going to get into. But what that's telling me is the Seahawks are probably looking to replace him. That is most likely the sign. Now, he's not cut or anything at this point. However, the free agency period starts March 9th. That's when players can start talking to other teams. So he's not going to go anywhere until March 9th. See, the teams can sign their own players before that point. So that's basically what teams have at their option, their control right now is deals that can be made with their own players, not players of other teams. So what does that mean? So that means right now, Hauschka, he's gonna, I think, has to decide how much he wants to make because at this point, Blair Walsh probably got signed. We don't know the exact terms of the deal, but it's probably no more than $1 million, something over the league minimum, since he got cut last year from the Minnesota Vikings after he struggled. After he missed that kick in the playoffs, he pretty much never quite got his groove back again. He wasn't so great. He was really super accurate, especially on point afters the first 3 seasons with the Vikings, and then his point percentage started to go downhill after that. So we'll see what happens there. So there's definitely going to be some competition with the kicking position. And it's not one position that we tend to really get all excited about when you start talking about free agency. But if you think about it, last year, Seahawks let Gresham, their long snapper, go last year because he had a pretty big signed contract. He had a 3-year, $2-point-something million contract, and they ended up letting him go and to try to save some money and get some other guys in there. And I contend that letting him go was a huge reason why we had some problems with the kicking game with Hauschka, because it's kind of a 3-part unit. You got the snappers, got to get the hold, and then the kick. And if any one of those things gets wrong, it causes problems. And if you look at it there, the kicking game may have been the one thing that could have made or broken this past season, with the fact that we could have won a game down in Arizona with our kicker. If we just made a very short field goal, we could have had an extra point that would have put us up by 3 or by 4 against the or not by 4, but would have made that could have an impact on that final Arizona Cardinal game, which he missed that extra point that resulted in a not good ending that ended up losing on a field goal in the final minutes of that game. So anyway, so not to take that position lightly, and personally, I was hoping they'd give Hauschka another chance. I felt like this season was a little bit just a bad year, but it's about the money, and they obviously he didn't have the best of seasons, and maybe they feel like Blair Walsh, who has proven to have been a good kicker before, they seem like they've just both had bad years. And maybe he's going to come. Maybe he could be a guy who could come in here and do a decent job, start a new, turn a new leaf and start a new solid career, second chance at a career with another team. But I'd be really bummed if Hauschka left, because he's had so many clutch moments. We've just had so many bad ones this past season. It's kind of overshadowed the good ones he's had over the years. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But let's talk about some of the other free agents and the other situations with other teams going on. Let's look at the pull up my little chart here, and let's look at the other free agents for the Seahawks. One of the biggest ones right now that is a big question mark is one of our all favorites is Luke Willson, tight end. He is also a unrestricted free agent, so he's free to go where he wants to go. He's not one of those guys who's making a whole lot of money. I think $500,000 was just a little over $500,000, 600,000 was his the impact of his salary this season. But the question is he going to go and try to get a better deal outside with another team, or do the Seahawks want to get Luke Willson back? I like Luke Willson. He's been a good blocker. He's fast. He's got good hands. In our scheme, it just seems like tight ends don't get a whole lot of love in the passing game. But when called upon, he's been pretty solid. And I hope they bring him back. I hope they work out a deal with him, because I like him. I think he's a good 1-2 punch with Jimmy Graham. Great for 2 double tight end sets. So, and I don't think Jimmy Graham's going anywhere. So, in fact, I believe that a bunch of the contracts as of 1:00 p.m., there were a bunch of players whose contracts became not permanent, but they basically got locked in, because if they didn't get released or done a deal done before 1:00, those contracts were set, and that would include Jimmy Graham, Russell Wilson, Richard Sherman, Jeremy Lane, and a bunch of other guys. But those are some of the key ones. So those guys are most likely not going anywhere next year, as their contracts are pretty full on the salary cap, which means Seahawks would be losing a lot of player and money to make a deal now. So expect those guys to be sticking around. Parrish Cox, he's another guy who's hitting the free agent market. But yes, there's a few others I want to bring up here. Bradley Sowell, who I got no problem if they let him go. Mike Morgan, strong side linebacker. Tony McDaniel, Marcel Reese, who we just picked up over the season, helped us out in the fullback position. Will Tuguafu, the other fullback. Jerron Johnson, Kelsey McCray, the backup to Cam Chancellor. Brandon Williams, Nico Thorpe, DeMontre Moore, lineman, defensive end. John Jenkins, who I don't really know who that is, and then Devin Hester. Technically, he's also a free agent. He was really just a one-time rental for that game. Anyway, so those are all unrestricted free agents. So it'll be interesting to see what Seattle decides to do with the rest of those players. I like Marcel Reese in the fullback position. We'll see if they keep him around or what their plans are in running back. But I kind of like what he was doing back there. A guy could catch. He's pretty fast. I think they underutilized him in the playoffs. In the Atlanta game, I wish they'd done a little more I formation and used him. But so we'll see what happens with the rest of these guys. But there you go. That's the free agency situation with the rest of the Seahawks. Got a question from Michael Freeman. He says, "Hey Norb, so the Seahawks trade to the Browns for that really good offensive line." My comment just faded. Let me see. Can I get my other window open here so I can read you guys' comments? There you go. I think there it is. All right, the comments aren't popping up here. Anyway, I think you're asking, should we trade for one of these linemen? I'm sorry, I missed the rest of your question. I'm trying to get my comment window here is not popping up like I thought it would. So sorry about that. I'm gonna have to just keep on talking until I get this window running. Let's see, am I in here? Okay, there we go. All right, anyway, keep sending your comments. I'll get to that in a second. Anyway, let's look around the league here, and I said I would talk about a little bit about the NFC West and what's going on with other teams. So, as you know, the NFC West took a step back. The rest of the NFC West did this season. The Cardinals were nowhere near what they were the previous year, and it was a big question whether Carson Palmer, Larry Fitzgerald, and Bruce Arians, their head coach, was going to be around even for this season. Well, it sounds like it's been made pretty solid that Carson Palmer, Arians, and Fitzgerald will all be back for 2017. So one more year for those guys and see what they'll do, if they're going to become what they were or keep trending down the way that they had been this season. I feel like Palmer's window is really closing fast. Fitzgerald is still a good receiver, but Arians too. His health was in a lot of question during the course of the season. So Cardinals, to me, they're the number one threat in the NFC West. And, it's going to be interesting to see if they can get some of the magic that they had from last year. But if I were to bet on it, I would say I wouldn't feel so confident as such. I feel like Carson Palmer had his best season last year. But we'll see. Big question for them defensively in that very tough defense that they do have. Calais Campbell and Chandler Jones, defensive end and linebacker, are both studs, and both those guys are unrestricted free agents too. Calais Campbell has got a huge salary impact, something like $11 million or something this year. So I don't know if they can keep both of them. That would be a lot of money to try to keep both. So I have to see if what the Cardinals decide to do, whether they decide to keep Campbell or let him go in lieu of keeping Jones, or vice versa. But that'll make it a little bit easier for teams like us who have to face them twice a year. The question was from Michael Freeman. Should the Seahawks carry the Browns? Blah, blah, blah. It disappears too quick on me. I'm using my iPhone for the first time. They have now enabled YouTube streaming on iPhones. I'm trying it for the first time here. So, but I'm trying to get my other window, which keeps my comments alive quicker on the computer here. But bear with me while I'm getting the technology all worked out. So anyway, until I get that worked out, I'm just going to keep on going through my little list of stuff, and I'll try to get to your comments as soon as I can. Where was I? Okay, so that's kind of the Cardinals situation as far as free agents. They got others as well, but I think as far as threats to the NFC West, Cardinals are going to be the number one threat, because as we turn the page to the other two teams, we've got the Rams, who are probably number 3 in there, and you got Wade Phillips as defensive coordinator for the Rams, who already have a very good defense. Their problem is offensively, they are quite, how do we say it, underachievers and lacking in some skills in skill position. And the big question is, they bet the farm, the Rams did, to get that number 1 pick last year. And Jared Goff, to me, from what I've seen, does not look like a number 1 pick who's going to take them to the promised land anytime soon. Now, maybe that'll change if they, with a little bit of, this new head coach that they've got, maybe things will improve there. But pretty much turning over a new leaf over there with new coach. Kobe Day, shout out. There you go, man. Another one of those teams in the NFC West who's in a rebuilding mode, and we'll see if the quarterback takes any steps forward. But it's definitely going to be a rebuilding for them. And much like the 49ers, who, man, talking about having to start from scratch. Kyle Shanahan, they are getting Kyle Shanahan from the offensive coordinator from the Atlanta Falcons, along with John Lynch, former player and former broadcaster, who kind of snuck in and got that position, locked in for several years as a general manager. A little bit of shock, I think, to everybody, because as this is a guy who I think really has not had much experience in this realm, and so I think being a former player helps in that regard. But really, as a general manager, the most important position and task responsibility he has is to find and be able to scout out good talent and put the right pieces that you need to put a good team together. And it'll be remains to be seen what kind of job he's going to do. But he's going to need a few years to try to, a few seasons probably, they've even admitted, at least 2-3 years before they can really get their feet under them and build the team that they want. So the good news is for my Seahawks is I think this gives us a very good window right now for the NFC West, that there's really no team who's going to contest us for grabbing that number 1 spot once again, other than the Cardinals. If they can get back on the track that they were last season, that's probably the biggest threat to us. So I'd like to think that our chances of winning the NFC West are pretty darn good. They just got to make some tweaks, obviously, on the offensive line, defensive cornerback, get a little bit of help in the pass rush. Seahawks Torres, what's up? Shout out for you. And I think those things will help the Seahawks. And if we can get keep a few guys healthier. That would really be a huge thing. Get that running back in balance, and then Russell Wilson will return to form as he was the past 4 seasons before he got injured. So that's my take on the NFC West. I think it's we're sitting in a pretty good spot right now. So we'll see. But Soren Carlson and Romo wants to know about Romo. I wasn't prepared to talk about this one, but yeah, that's a very intriguing one. I don't even think, if I'm Romo, I've only got a few years left. So, I'd want to go where there's a winner. There's a lot of teams that need a quarterback, from the Texans. Texans actually could be a very nice position, being that it's in Texas where he's already lives. They got a really good defense. They're a playoff contending team in a division that's pretty weak. Tony Romo probably could do well if they could, work out something over there, and they need a quarterback bad over there to not waste that defense. Denver also could be a possible landing spot, depending on what their feelings are on what they need at quarterback right now. Those would probably be the top 2. There's a lot of other teams that could use them, but I'm sure he would not want to go there, like the Browns, the Bears, the 49ers. I don't think Romo would want to take that unless they pay him a lot of money. So anyway, that's the NFC West position. So I mentioned here that do I owe New England Patriots fans an apology? Well, I have to suffice this by saying I did a video. One of my last videos was I was talking about how I felt sorry. The title of my video is I feel sorry for Patriots fans, and a lot of Patriots fans took offense to what I had to say. I think maybe they misunderstood my points in the comment, because I was not really taking a shot at Patriots fans as much as I was simply saying, and maybe the part that they didn't like is the fact that I was saying that I feel like Patriots fans may not truly appreciate what they have because they've been spoiled with having such an amazing team for the past decade and a half. And that's not to take away the fact that I think I said Brady and Belichick are the best ever. Those guys proved it with this latest victory. And obviously, it's a congratulations to the organization and their fans for their team and what they've done. But I was simply making a statement about how the fact that those guys did have a team like that has been so good for so long that any fans who didn't know them back in the bad days, Luciano Rubio, those are the fans who only have known what the Belichick and Brady era. And if that's all you knew, I don't think it gets much better than where it is right now, because it can't get any better than what they've had. And yeah, there's a few more years left, but at some point the Brady-Belichick year is going to go, and it's going to be tough to follow this. I mean, look at the 49ers, look at the Chicago Bulls in the Michael Jordan era. All these teams had some of the greatest players ever looked at in history, and since then they haven't been able to follow up the great seasons, the great dynasties that they had at the time. That's all I was saying, is that maybe you could find it, but if you don't, and that's as good as it's going to get, it's going to be pretty tough to feel like you're a fan of a team that, if you have the best years right now and it's only going to go down from there, that would be pretty tough to a pretty high bar to live up to for the team that has to follow that era. But we'll see. They're not going anywhere soon. Sounds like Tom Brady's planning to re-sign with the Patriots for another 3 seasons or so. So he may not be out of our hair yet, boys and girls. So that's what we got to deal with for a while. But let's see. I'm trying to see if I can get this chat thing happening here so I can get a few comments here. I'm sorry about this. This normally is not a problem, but let's see what I got. Let's see if I can get some of y'all on here. All right. Technical issues, but let's see. Let me try this one more time. Nope. All right, that's all right. I'll try to keep up here. Norb, do I hate the 1996 Chicago Bulls? don't hate him. I think it was just unfortunate that the Chicago Bulls had to come up at the time when we finally had a shot at getting a second world title for Seattle. We ran into the Bulls, and we missed our little window there in the '90s with the Sonics. The last time the Sonics were truly great, and now we don't have any basketball teams. So, unfortunately, Giovanni Giella, what's happening? Paul wants to know, why didn't they want to sign Steven again? I think it's a combination of salary, free agency, and his performance this past year. He did not rise to the level I think everyone wanted to on a contract year where he's looking to extend his contract the following season. So combination of both, unfortunately. All right, what else we got? So is Earl Thomas coming back to the Hawks? Somebody was asking. He says he is. He said at first he was contemplating retirement, but now I think it's pretty clear that I think Earl, after watching what was happening with our team, was thinking, man, these guys need help. I need to get back in there. So he is back. I think he'll be back. It's just a question of how long is it going to be, before he gets back from injury. He's got a broken leg to rehab from. So hopefully he's back in time for getting back into it on the field in the 2017 season. Noah Clark wants to know about O-line moves this offseason. I've said this several times before. My theory is I think what they should do is we need to we need to trade and get a veteran offensive left tackle in there, and then maybe we move Fant to right guard and then move Ifedi to right tackle, and then we keep the center Britt and Glowinski at guard. Those guys are good. So I'm good with them. So, yeah, I don't think we need to do much. Just a couple of things. And then we need in the draft, we need to address the cornerback position because Deshaun Shedd is injured. So we need to get some help there. Maybe even also pick up a veteran guy. We need depth too, and we need offensive line depth as well. So we need to draft defensive line. Those primarily are the things that I think we need. So, what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on what the Seahawks need to do in this coming draft and off season? It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see how this thing goes. Like I said, I do feel very optimistic about where things are going with the Seahawks, just because we still got the core guys there. I think we just need a tweak here. Nick Alvarez, Seahawks fan, and I think we just had bad luck with the running backs and some injuries, and the losing Tyler Lockett when we did, Russell being hurt all season, losing Earl Thomas, and then our running backs. We were supposed to have a Coleman Freeman type running back tandem in our backfield, just like it would have been with Procise and Rawls. I'm convinced those two guys could have been on the field together, and they may still be on the field together. I think we would have a really amazing, and Alex Collins to add a third person to that, would have been an amazing running back trio maybe. But we couldn't have, because of injuries, no three of them could be there. I don't think any one of those guys can do it by themselves. Rawls by himself, I don't think either of them. But if you can share and split carries between the two, I think it's a great combination, because you got Procise, who's more of a third down receiving back. Rawls is kind of the first and second down guy. And then mix Marcel Reese in there to lead the way in I formation. I would love that. We just couldn't have it. We just never had those two together. So just a little bit of a weird injury bug. So that's why I think we need to have them. As somebody just said in the comment, missed the name there, but are they really built to last for the future? Maybe not by themselves. Neither of them have a beast mode by themselves, but the two of them together, like I said, I think is a pretty cool thing. Mr. Wasp YT, is Carson Palmer or Larry Fitzgerald retiring? I said earlier in the broadcast that apparently they said they will be playing one more year, so we will be seeing them in 2017. So it's not over. Kobe Apocalypse, do you think Tyler Lockett will stay? Oh, he's not going anywhere. I mean, he's only on the second year, going into his third, right? Yeah, going into his third year of his rookie season or rookie campaign. So he'll be around. It's just a question of what condition will he be from that nasty leg. Someone said, get rid of Fant. So the comments are going too quick. I don't know. I mean, I watched some of that Atlanta game. I was watching it, archiving the footage, and I was watching a few plays. Man, he got owned on a few plays. The same with the right tackle. I mean, just like lineman, and it is going right by him. But I don't know. It was his first year. It's kind of like a Fetty too. He had some rookie mistakes too, but you got to give him some time. At least I feel, a rookie campaign's got to give him a second year to at least see what they can do. I mean, he was playing left tackle. The guy hadn't even played since high school in that position in football, playing the toughest position on the field against the toughest rushers. And so you expect him to kind of fall a little bit. Somebody asked just now, will Devin Hester play again? I got to check officially what his status is. From everything I'd read, Devin Hester was planning to retire after the season. But man, after the way he played in the Falcons game, it'd be nice to have him since we're not going to have Lockett early on. It'd be nice to have that threat in the return game still. So, but do not have any news as to whether he's going to be anything's going to be changing there in regards to Hester's continued being involved in the NFL. I'm going to still continue working on this thing, trying to get these comments. I'm just telling you, I can't keep up with them. And when they go on this, who's better, Ezekiel Elliott or Bell from the Steelers? Oh, that's a pretty good one. If you took the two running backs and flipped lines, put Elliott behind the Pittsburgh Steelers line and put Bell behind the Cowboys line, you put anybody behind the Cowboys line and they're going to be 10 times as good. So, I don't know how you can, cannot feel like that guy, hey, there we go, I got this thing working. Bell would be better behind the Dallas line, but yeah, it's hard to say. If you take them away from their element and just weigh them side by side, who's better? I would probably say Bell, just as far as multi-talented capabilities. I think Elliott is just great because of the line he runs behind, and so much is about that. All right, let me try to get through a few of these things. Tell me where you guys are coming from, and try to shout you guys out now that I got this working again. What we got here? So many of you here. Dean Phillips, Noah Clark, Wampet Gaming, Doug Baldwin, Kyle Clark, Joey Igo, Kobe Apocalypse, Adrian Nino. Wants to know, does Seattle have a hockey team? Not an NHL team, not yet. Dean Phipps, Doug Baldwin. I said you a few times. Peter Stokes, Romero Squad, Pongbot, RH3120, the NFL Kid. Norb wants to know, Norb, is Dak Prescott becoming Russell Wilson 2.0? Again, put any running back or quarterback behind that offensive line, and they're going to look twice as good as they might actually be. But from what I've seen, he looks like he's pretty good. He's solidly built. He makes good decisions, throws pretty well, runs well, and he just seems to handle himself in a very mature way, much like Russell Wilson did in his first season, where he didn't feel like the game was too much for him. So, yeah, I think Dallas is... They didn't get it this year, but they're going to be around. Romo the Great says, I'm a Patriots fan, and I didn't get triggered by my live stream. In fact, he's correct. Eventually the end will begin, so got to enjoy the great moments while they last. Well, that's cool. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. I can't say I don't know what it feels like to have a team that is... to be played for a season that had a city that has so many winning teams and dynasties. Obviously, we're starved over here, so we can only imagine what it would be like. So I just try to put myself in those shoes. to think how that must be like. All right, going down the line here. Whoa. What else we got here? Chucky Emmerich watching from Yakima. Mick 3R45. Who's winning it all, Norb? Well, I'm just going to say I would love to see a Seahawks-Patriots reunion in Super Bowl 52 in Minnesota. All right, I'm just going to say that much. I would assume it's going to be the same teams battling out in the NFC again. You know, I'd like to think Seattle will be in the mix, along with the Cowboys and the Packers and the Falcons. Those guys will all be there, and it's just a question who's going to be, who's the wild card. I don't have much faith in Detroit being there again. But you'll see. Every season's different, but I feel like those four will be there in the mix: Atlanta, Dallas, Seattle, and the Packers. Did I say that? Yeah. All right, gonna be wrapping it up here pretty soon. Tampa Bay. Yeah, they'll be pretty strong. They look pretty good. They didn't quite make it this season. They kind of stumbled at the end there, but yeah, they do look pretty good. Ken O.Z., Auburn, Washington. What's up? Mr. Wasp YT. When is there going to be a Super Bowl in CenturyLink Field? I think for there to be a Super Bowl in CenturyLink, they're going to have to build a new stadium with a roof. I think that's what it's going to take, because nobody wants to have the Super Bowl in a place like it would have been this weekend, where we had snow coming down and rain and cold. I just don't think the NFL would ever see that happen. So like they do in Minnesota, the only way they're going to have a Super Bowl in a city like that, got to have an indoor stadium. So until our stadium goes somewhere different, and that's what's going to happen. So we're going to be traveling if it's going to be a Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. It's not going to be in Seattle anytime soon. Jacob Myers, I hope you live to your full potential. Be happy, be yourself. Sincerely, a small YouTuber with a big dream. That's a very positive attitude. I like that. Val417, best football is snow football. I agree. I love watching outdoor games where you got rain and snow and, when there used to be mud and all that stuff. We're getting further and further away. Less and less games being played with natural grass and kind of just more the turf and all that kind of stuff. But that's just kind of how it is now. It's how it is. It's all about the money. Evan Bowe, do you think the Seahawks would have beat the Patriots if they hadn't traded Percy Harvin in the Super Bowl? It's hard to kind of take that out of context, because Percy Harvin was a cancer, unfortunately, after they won the Super Bowl, and obviously kept him only for a handful of games before we had to let him go. If we could have kept his talent and lost the attitude, I would have loved to have seen a guy of that talent had stuck around and would have been able to bring it like that and not have it, because we gave up a lot to get him. That's the problem. So we had to let him go and really got nothing back for it. So it turned out to be, I don't like to look at it as a waste, because the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. He contributed to that in a lot of ways, kind of put the insurance on that. So the fact that almost ensured our win, it was worth it for me, even though in the long term probably wasn't, but I was glad that he was there for that. But yeah, if we could have had him playing in the Super Bowl, heck yeah, probably. But that's all said and done, and he's pretty much gone. Where will the Raiders end up? Cobra89 wants to know. Well, supposed to be in Las Vegas, but who knows now? I don't know if there's any other options really at this point if Vegas doesn't happen. So it's a crazy time right now with these teams moving all over the place. San Diego to Los Angeles, Oakland to Las Vegas. Do you wish to get Okung back? Wombat Gaming said. I've been thinking about that. I would actually entertain that, considering I used to complain about Okung a lot, from the false starts to his ankles and things like that. But after watching what we've been through this past season, having him in left tackle kind of sounds kind of good. You know what I mean? And I have a feeling we could probably get him for a pretty good deal. So. Ty Halpern, are you going to be at every game? Yes, I will be at every home game, and I plan to go to maybe 1 or 2 road games, probably the Los Angeles Rams game, and we'll see what else comes up, see what the schedule plays out. What I'm excited about, though, is now that they have this new setup where I can stream from my phone. What I had been doing during the season, I would go Facebook Live on my phone, but of course you guys on YouTube couldn't watch it. But now, if this is working, it seems to be working, I will be live streaming my reactions from the games live on YouTube, which I'm very excited about. So I think it's very cool. I'm glad YouTube finally got that going for the iPhone. So very excited about that. Very, very excited about that. A couple more before I got to go. Oh, I was going to tell you guys. So some exciting things I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys. So the first one is I'm getting ready to set up a merchandise page on my website soon, where I'm going to have some shirts and some socks, NorbCam gear. So I'm excited to share that with you guys once it's up and ready. And the next thing is I'm going to be developing a NorbCam app, believe it or not, which will be really cool because then you can actually watch all the NorbCam videos, and it's all going to be in one app with all the categories laid out. So it'll be super easy for you to follow my videos, and so along with some exclusive content and things like that. So that's kind of in the works. So this is all stuff that I'm working on during this off season that I'm stoked about and can't wait to share with you guys. So anyway, I hope you guys will check it out when it's ready, but I'm just giving you a little heads up, but it's not quite there yet. But excited to kind of enter in that arena. So last couple things here before I wrap this thing up. Peter Stokes wants to know, when do our schedules come out? When was that? They usually come out during the summertime. I can't remember exactly the date, but I know it's going to be during the summer when we usually find out what the schedule is. We already have the opponents, but we got to, where and when we're playing them hasn't been set. Really, really when we're playing them hasn't been determined yet. Jar Jar Trump says, Norb, go to a Cowboys game. Yeah, I was thinking about if they did end up going to the Cowboys. I was tempted about checking that out because I've never been to the Cowboys stadium yet. So, Luciano Rubio, question. I would like to see a Seahawks versus Steelers Super Bowl. I was looking for that too. My order was I wanted to see Seahawks Raiders, Seahawks Patriots, or Seahawks Steelers. That would have been my 3 choices of Super Bowls. And we got close. We got close. We just didn't take care of things on our end. Hamma Brewer, prove you are a real Seahawks fan. I'm not sure how one proves themselves that. I think you just kind of are. You know what I mean? I've been a fan for a long time, since I was a kid. But, yeah, don't know more I can say. Tal Halpern's question. What is Tal Halpern? What do you think if we had Earl and no penalties, we would have beat the Falcons? I think if we didn't get that penalty on the punt return, it could have been a different game. It's that momentum thing that we talk about, that when a team steals momentum, just like the Patriots did from the Falcons, it puts a team on their heels, and suddenly they feel the game slip away from them. And if we had gotten that punt return not nullified and had the ball at like the 7-yard line of Atlanta, I'm convinced we would have scored a touchdown. We would have been up 17-7. And suddenly the game starts to feel a little bit like, that Atlanta could potentially start to panic there, and kind of like how they panicked in the Super Bowl. And I think we could have had a real good chance at winning that game, even though they ended up scoring so much on us. It just started a chain of events that led to like 3 straight scores and put things out of reach. And I think had we had done that, totally different deal. So add a Earl Thomas on top of that, yeah, I think a real good chance. As Mr. Miyagi from the first Karate Kid said, I think You have good chance. Real good chance. All right. Last one here. I'll have to go to the opponent schedule on another thing when we have more time. Hey, Norb, do you think the Seahawks are going to trade to the Browns for a left tackle? I hear that he's been really good and he's really good, but he's been wasting his career with the Browns. You must be talking about Joe Thomas. I believe that's the one that there was real talk that they were going to try to get a deal done. Never happened. I hope they'll entertain the possibility. I just know the Seahawks aren't going to overspend for it. I don't think they're going to bet the farm on it, and he's probably going to command a lot of money. So Seahawks just generally don't spend a lot. When they have, it's usually backfired on them, like the Percy Harvin situation. So, so we'll see. But I do want a veteran at left tackle. That's all I have to say about that. Norb, who's your favorite all-time player? Actually, one of my favorite players, and I did a video on this. I had some issues because my drive crashed. I was about ready to post it. But a video about Kenny Easley, number 45, who played during the 80s for the Seahawks, is going to get into the Hall of Fame in August this year. And he was an amazing player. I'm still going to try to get this video up. I'm trying to get this video salvaged off of this drive that crashed on me. But I go into more detail with it with another Seahawks fan named Sam Dog. And we talked a little bit more detail about him, but he was awesome. And he was the Cam Chancellor before Cam Chancellor was, 30 years ago, Cam Chancellor. So, Kadar 206, shout out. Since you said please before you did it, there you go. Texans. H-Town Girl 17, do you like the Texans? They have a great defense, awesome defense, but they need help at quarterback, and they kind of overreached getting Osweiler from the Broncos. And I said in a video, my free agency video last season, where I spoofed Justin Bieber. I spoke about that and said, really? You're paying all that millions of bucks to him, and he only played 7 games? So now I think you're starting to see what he really is made of, and he's not the answer, I'm telling you. All right, last one. Eric Daniel Garcia, what's up? Robert Vallejo, what's happening? Hama Brewer, is Rick Meyer your favorite QB ever? Kyle Clark, Bennett for Bennett, who would most benefit? I guess you're talking about brother versus brother. I don't know. They're both pretty good. I hope they can play each other again in the Super Bowl. Romo the Great. Is the upcoming NorbCam app going to be on Android? I think it will be on both platforms. That's the plan. Lincoln Nordquist. Norb, what's your thoughts on Seattle season schedule next year? Sorry if you've already been asked this. I have not really talked about next year's schedule. I got to do kind of a separate thing just to kind of go team by team, which of course I'll make a music video out of it this year. But from first glance, it does not look like a very easy route. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough route. We play the Falcons again at home. I think we play the Packers again. So right away, the teams I just talked about of being the ones who are going to be in the playoffs most likely are on our schedule. So we'll have to get into it more, but it's not going to be an easy path. That's one thing about the Patriots, I feel, is being in the AFC East, they usually have a very easy road to the number one. Sorry, with all due respect to the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Jets, but come on, you guys. You got to put up a fight here. It's party time, too. 16-0, yes or no? I've been predicting 13-3 for the last 3 seasons, and it's fallen short. So I'll be happy with a 12-4 and winning the NFC West. And key is the NFC number 1 seed so that we can have a game at home, baby. Doug Baldwin, let's hang out tomorrow. I live in the carriages, please. Well, I'm going to be busy. I'm leaving busy tomorrow. Girls volleyball tournament. I'm going out of town for a couple of days. So actually, I'll be going to Connecticut. So I might do some live streaming out there, entering almost into Patriot country. It's a little scary. It's party time too. I'm not ignoring you. I just finally caught your comment. Brandon Fryer, what's up? Thanks for watching. I love that you love my videos. Andrew Byer, can we win on the road? I hope so. We got to do a better job of it because the road has not been good to us this year. All right. H-Town Girl 17, Patriots have it so easy. Nick Alvarez. Sing a song from your music videos. Huh. All right. Just to end this thing off. What's a good one? We are the 12th men, we are the loudest fans, and Seahawks, we got your back, yeah. Seahawks, we got your back, yeah. We will be screaming, the loudest fans are screaming, the opponents off are starting, like flies they will be dropping. Anyway, something like that. That's from my We Got Your Back song. All right, I gotta go. On that note, on that sour note, I'm gonna get out of here, and I will talk to you guys singing. Hey, Chris L., don't slam my singing. Come on now. All right, I gotta go. Thanks again for watching. Please, if you haven't subscribed to me yet, please do by subscribing. And right here, I'm gonna put a little button thing you can click on right here in the corner, right there. Subscribe to me here and check out one of my videos right over here. And that's it. NorbCam now. And now you know. I'm out. Have a good weekend, guys. Go Hawks. Somewhere.